Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. We are so jam-packed today because we had a couple of episodes at the end of last week while I was traveling without the headlines. It's probably going to take us a couple days to get through everything, but the place that I wanted to start, and the most important set of updates that we didn't get access to, is that last week we got a number of new models. Although we didn't get the non-coding version of GPT-5.3 to end last week, OpenAI's release of GPT-5.3 Codex Spark could still have a huge impact when it comes to AI coding. This model is all about speed, serving inference at 1,000 tokens per second. For those keeping track at home, that's roughly 15 times faster than the regular version of GPT-5.3 Codex, which was already noted for being much faster than Anthropic's Opus 4.6. At the same time, the trade-offs do show up elsewhere. The model only has a 128K context window, can't accept multimodal inputs, and it can't complete long horizon tasks. There's also a step down on the benchmarks from the state-of-the-art, but 5.3 Codex Spark is still much more performant than 5.1 Codex Mini, which was the last coding model from OpenAI designed for speed. Dan Schipper of Every noted that this speed boost means that the model suits a different subset of coding tasks. It keeps the developer in the flow much more easily, so functions well as a pair programmer. It outperforms on non-production tasks and tasks that are easy to validate. However, it can't engage with a large codebase as easily, and some tasks will suffer from the quality downgrade. Schipper wrote, "This kind of speed introduces totally new bottlenecks into your coding workflow. Suddenly, the model can produce 10 pages of code and summaries in just a few seconds. It requires a totally new UX to manage." He added, "The new OpenAI model Spark produces code basically instantly. That changes a lot. You should play with it today." Now, it makes sense that we're at the point now, whereas coding really cements its role as the most important use case, not just for engineers, but as we saw from the January AI Usage Pulse survey for non-engineers as well, that we're starting to get different models optimized for different types of coding tasks. Spark is also the first model from OpenAI designed specifically for non-NVIDIA hardware. The model is being served exclusively using Cerebra's wafer-scale chips. Cerebra's CEO Andrew Feldman wrote, "In coding, responsiveness is the product. It's not a nice-to-have. Codex Spark is optimized for targeted code edits, logic revision, and front-end iteration. It gives developers near-instant feedback so they can stay in flow." Summing up, OpenAI wrote, "Codex Spark is the first step towards a codex with two complementary modes, longer horizon reasoning and execution, and real-time collaboration and rapid iteration. Over time, the models will blend. Codex can keep you in a tight interactive loop while delegating longer running work to sub-agents in the background, or fanning out tasks to many models in parallel when you want breadth and speed, so you don't have to choose a single mode up front." Google, meanwhile, was not content to let OpenAI have all the fun. At the end of the week, they released an upgrade in DeepThink mode. Now, this is a version of Gemini that achieved a gold medal performance in the International Mathematics Olympiad and the International Collegiate Programming Contest over the summer. It was then released to the public in November, but the initial release of DeepThink kind of suffered from not having a clear use case. It was locked behind the expensive Ultra subscription, and it wasn't obvious when a user should select it over deep research. Basically, there were just a really slim cross-section of users that needed PhD-level scientific reports. With this upgrade, DeepMind is keeping their narrow focus, but they're adding agentic scaffolds to make DeepThink more useful in academic settings. The first agent is called Althea, built to handle math research. The agent is designed to generate possible solutions, verify them, and then feed insights back into the start of the loop until a correct solution is found. This is not about helping your kid with math homework or even getting you through a postgrad quantum physics course. Instead, it's an attempt to build an agent that can autonomously generate and verify novel proofs in pure mathematics. The model has already contributed to several academic papers this year, so this is an attempt to formalize that process into an agent. Google says that they're also expanding this work into the fields of physics and computer science, so we can expect more from that soon. Aside from the new agent, this upgraded version of DeepThink is a beast on the benchmarks. The model scores 84.6% on ArcAGI2, smashing the previous best from Opus 4.6 at 68.8%. The cost per task is around $14, which is roughly comparable to GPT-5.2 Pro, meaning that this isn't an absurdly expensive model to run. In addition, DeepThink is state-of-the-art on humanity's last exam, with a score of 48.6%. The previous best was Opus 4.6 again at 40%. Ultimately, the vast majority of users still won't have a use case that demands DeepThink, but it's clearly a step forward for raw model capability. Next up, we move from models that we got to models that we might get soon. DeepSeek rumors are in full swing as Chinese New Year approaches. The weeks approaching the Spring Festival have already seen a deluge of new models out of China. Zhipu released their new frontier model GLM5 on Thursday, and Seeddance 2.0 from ByteDance pushed state-of-the-art for video generation earlier in the week. Meanwhile, Alibaba and Baidu are aggressively pushing shopping agents in a bid to capture market share in that area. But all eyes are on DeepSeek, with the release of V4 expected to coincide with Lunar New Year celebrations on Tuesday. Sean Wang, aka Swix, explained why this release was such a big deal. He wrote, "I've been cynical on open source AI for the last 3 years, and it's not been a popular view. People want to hear that open source is catching up, that some underdog team found this one weird trick to outperform GPT-5. Kimi K2.5 didn't even beat GPT 5.2 in the end. DeepSeek version 4 next week is probably the moment I really changed my stance for the first time. Hearing that the Chinese labs leak like a sieve, and all the other tigers duly lined up to have their 15 seconds this week. Almost everything is out now, and the stage is set for whalefall." Basically what he's saying is that the reason that we got a flurry of these other models over the last week is that they knew they couldn't compete with what was coming out of DeepSeek, and so they wanted to get in under that wire. In fundraising news, Anthropic has officially closed their latest round, and the ultimate numbers are $30 billion at a $380 billion post-money valuation. As we expected, the round includes not only the who's who of Silicon Valley VCs, but a bunch of sovereign wealth funds and major financial firms like Fidelity, BlackRock, Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and JP Morgan. Still, the thing that really hit people over the head wasn't the number of dollars raised or the valuation or even the participants. It was the growth in their revenue. You probably saw this chart running around, where the company grew from $1 billion ARR in January 2025 to $14 billion today. Revenue breadth was also impressive. Customers spending $100,000 annually had grown 7x over the past year. 2 years ago, Anthropic had just a dozen customers spending more than $1 million with them annually, and that figure is now north of 500, with 8 of the Fortune 10 using Anthropic's tools. Claude Code alone is now generating $2.5 billion, more than doubling since the beginning of this year and creating a major new revenue stream. Weekly users for the feature have also doubled so far this year. That growth is showing up in the independent statistics as well. Ramp economist Ara Karazian said that 1 in 5 businesses on Ramp are now paying for Anthropic, up from 1 in 25 a year ago. He commented, "Latest Ramp AI index shows Anthropic surged from 16.7% to 19.5% of businesses, while OpenAI slipped to 35.9%. The natural question, is Anthropic winning at OpenAI's expense? I think popular analysis lacks a key data point: the overlap in Anthropic's customer base with OpenAI. 79% of Anthropic's customers are already OpenAI customers. The churn rates are nearly identical at 4%. So, most of Anthropic's growth is coming from existing OpenAI customers." Alongside their fundraising, Anthropic also announced a $20 million donation to a newly founded social welfare organization called Public First Action. The organization's purpose will be to support public education about AI, promote safeguards, and ensure America leads the AI race. Anthropic wrote, "Recent polling finds that 69% of Americans think the government is not doing enough to regulate the use of AI. We agree. AI is being adopted faster than any technology in history, and the window to get the policy right is closing. Yet there are no official guardrails in place, and there is no federal framework on the horizon." Now, there is actually a lot more to talk about when it comes to this particular set of issues, things that are getting booted for a little bit later this week, including the White House putting some pressure on state lawmakers around AI, as well as the White House being in quite a little tiff with Anthropic itself. We will come back to that later, but one more small thing I wanted to announce in the Anthropic world. For those of you Windows users who have been annoyed watching Mac users get everything first, Claude CoWork is now available on Windows. Now, if you've been watching the markets and listening to this show, you'll know that the launch of CoWork was treated as an extinction-level event for software firms on Wall Street, and reports suggested that Microsoft was taking notice. Sources told The Information that a Slack channel, or Teams channel, I'm not really sure, had been set up to discuss CoWork and rapidly develop rival features for Copilot. The channel was said to include CEO Satya Nadella discussing his use of emerging tools, which included testing out OpenClaw. It seems Anthropic is now forcing the issue, with CoWork now fully available on Windows. Anthropic said the feature has full parity with Mac OS, including file access, multi-step task execution, plugins, and MCP connectors. There is a lot more to cover. This week is going to be dense, but for now, that is going to do it for today's headlines. Next up, the main episode.